people. Let's see. There we go. You got to do it right. If you don't do it right, then it messes up. So, today we're going to talk about something that's kind of interesting, and I hope you guys, enjoy it, because it is going to probably mess up your religion, and it's probably why I'm having such a challenge getting on to YouTube. Yeah, here it is right here. I see it. Yeah, I see it, but I don't see. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I know I'm on. So, yeah, I know I'm on. So, anyway, get into this. There we go. Okay, so today I want to talk about this very, very controversial issue, and it's very interesting. A lot of people get on the YouTube if you can, because you can see all the notes and stuff. It's very interesting that what we're going to talk about today, because what we're going to talk about today is going to probably mess most of us up, and it messed me up when I finally got it. And I'm not, see, the thing that you have to realize is 9 times out of 10, when I'm talking about stuff, I'm not talking about stuff that's about you. I'm talking about stuff that I have actually dealt with. I've been in the process of it. I've been am I kind of dark, guys? Yeah, I got to talk. Let me let the camera focus in on me. I've actually dealt with it. I've actually been in the presence of it. I never talk about anything that I've not dealt with. I've not been in and not been a part of. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, you guys gotta know I got all these little systems, all the lights and all the kind of stuff though. But I never deal with anything that I've not been a part of. So today we're gonna talk about the lowest form of spirituality and how to receive something out of the Spirit. That's what we're gonna talk about today. The lowest form of spirituality. And a lot of us, we wanna know the forms of spirituality, but I need you to know that there's a low form in most of those things. Each form correlates with a certain thing. So today, my name is William Dallas. It's the Higher Standards Organization. Higher Standards Chronicles. And today we're going to talk about the lowest form of spirituality. Hi guys, my name is William Dallas. Hey, I'm here, your buddy. I'm trying to get you to the next level. I actually want to help you restore the spirit of your mind. My name is William Dallas. This is the Higher Standards Chronicles, where we kind of chronicle what's going on. I've been in ministry for over 30 years. I walked in the office of a prophet, a pastor, everything you can do in the fivefold ministry. I also understood the difference of religion and spirituality. So that is what is my claim to fame. And I have everything you've seen on television. I've probably done it. I've probably run the aisles, jumped the Bibles, the whole 9 yards. But what I want to talk to you about is how I've learned the levels of spirituality. So check this out. So today is Friday. For those of you that kind of hang out with me, today is my day. Friday is basically my day. I am really dark. I need to really work on that. I should have got me a darker shirt. I might be doing that. But so let's really work on it. Let's really work on it. So I used to do comedy years ago, and that's another story altogether. And I'm talking to this young man one day, and I love God. I am one of those people that really loves God. I mean, not love religion and the dogmas that come with religion, but I love God. So I'm talking to this young man one time, and he is a different religion than I was. So he was a different religion. And he was talking about me doing comedy. And he said something that really messed up my whole world and really changed my mindset. He said to me, you're going to come to a crossroads where what you want to do and what you need to do meet. Where what you want to do and what you need to do meet. And he says this, and I'm like, wow, that's really, really deep. And so he said, at that moment, you will define and figure out who you really are. Guys, when what you want to do and what you need to do meet, you find out who you really are. And so when this happened, I'm kind of going, what does that mean? What exactly does that mean? And so as I grow in life and I begin to grow in the different areas of my life, I begin to understand. Guys, I don't understand why I'm so dark. But anyway, I begin to understand what he means by that. A lot of us have adapted who we wanted to be. And when we adapt who we wanted to be, we establish who we want to be by what other people say about us and about the surrounding. And so there we go. And so what happens is now I'm at that point, and I realize that he being in one religion and me being in another religion, those two things actually begin to move me in a direction. So what does that mean? That means this. The lowest form of spirituality is a form of spirituality where you don't know what's going to happen next. That's the really interesting for me. Do you really know what's going to happen next? Now, most people say no man knows the hour nor the day. We go through all these religious dogmas and all those kind of things, but we really don't know what's going to happen next. Let me see if I still got what I'm looking for down here. Yeah, let me see what I got looking for down here. Okay, so check this out, guys. Everybody check this out. Let me see if I can get this to move down a bit. That's not what I'm looking for. I'll close you right now. So I want y'all to check this out right now. Now, over here is the structure of spirituality, but it is also the structure of your life. Whichever one of these you are attentive to is the one that you follow. And the one that you follow, you make your God. You make your guide. Your guide, your God, your guide. Okay? So your guide and your God are basically the same thing. And not even basically. So the one over here that you choose, that's the one you make your guide. Now, what happens to a lot of us, what happens to a lot of us, like I said, come over to YouTube, guys, so you can see what I'm showing you on the screen. What happens to a lot of us, we let our guide be determined by our environment. So, for example, if everybody goes in a certain direction, then you go in that same direction with them. Oh, I see what you're saying. If everybody goes in that same direction, then what you do have a tendency of going in the direction with them. So everybody has to understand the level of guide. Now, the lowest form of spirituality is like that as well. Now, what does that mean? When you look at these three things, spirituality is where you want to go. Anything that deals with this level down here, anything that deals with this level has a level of spirituality. Anything that has this level is a level of spirituality. Of course, then there's this level of spirituality. So each of these things represent a level of spirituality. So now I'm talking to this young man, and under other circumstances, we probably wouldn't talk, because what this form of religion does is tells us there is somebody that's better than us or not as good as us. Got it? So here's how you know. The lowest form of religion, the lowest form of spirituality is religion. If you are attached to a religion, if you are connected to a religion, if you're talking about a religion constantly, talking about my church, talking about my bishop, talking about those things, that is the lowest form of spirituality you can get to. If you're constantly talking about what my bishop said, what my bishop told me this, my God, my bishop really preached him. If that is the place that you're in, that is the most elementary form of spirituality. You are not as spiritual as you think. Why? Because that level of spirituality connects to this right here. Y'all see that right there? My mic can move it over. It's this right here. Okay? So that form of spirituality connects to this form right here. Now, what does that mean? That means that your spirituality is based on physical rituals. Your spirituality is based on physical rituals. And so what you have to learn is how to get to the next level. So what happens is your rituals determine what you get from God. I told y'all this is going to be kind of interesting. Your rituals determine what you get from God. Why? Because you're stuck here. Now, if those of you that can't get on YouTube, I'm going to record this. You're stuck here. So everything you do is a ritual, and those rituals only take you so far when it comes to God or being spiritual, because everything you do cannot be based on ritual. That is an Old Testament. That is a historical process, learning how to do things according to rituals. So, peep gang, making sure you pay your tithes, making sure you're there at church on time, making sure you get to sing your song, that you make sure you're there at the choir. All of these things are ritualistic that cause you to think that God is a God of rituals. That cause you to think that God is the God of rituals. Now, those rituals limit your growth and your access to God, but they also help you. Because if you learn how to graduate from lowest form of spirituality to next level spirituality, you begin to see things, and your rituals get you into the habit of letting God be a part of your life. Does that make sense? So anything physical is the lowest form of spirituality. So here's the thing. Let me kind of hit you guys from the left side here. Let me hit you guys from the left side. Bam. Okay. Let me hit you guys from the left side. So rituals put you in a position that God is a God of rituals. So when you want something from God, you go through a specific ritual, believing that this ritual will give you what you want from God. Does that make sense? So if that's the case, when you begin to move into business, when you begin to move into relationships, you begin to move in all these things in your life, you look for a ritual to make God move for you on your behalf. Now, the key to that is, so here's the thing. So you're going into business, you want God to bless your business. So you may go and fast. You may go into prayer. You may go do something. You may do something to give God the reason to see that you are ready for the next level. You want a house, you go clean your old house. You want a car, you make sure you take care of your old car. Because we hear when you're faithful over a few things, God will make you rulers over many. But guys, I need you to hear something. Your faithfulness is not within your actions. Your faithfulness is within your spirit. So when you hear the word faith, faith is evidence in substance. You're not hearing something you think, and you're not hearing something you act out in. You hear something that you're faithful to when it comes to the spirit. Hear me now. So paying tithes, I love people say, I'm a tither. Okay, what is that? Now, it's never written in the Bible, but we say, I'm a tither. Okay, what is that? I'm a worshiper. Well, you know, the different tribes. And so you're trying to do rituals to prove to God you are this person. So your attendance at church puts you in a position where you feel like you are getting something from God. There are people that are mean as a rattlesnake, but make it to church every Sunday because it's a ritual in their lives. It's a ritual. It is the lowest form of spirituality. It's a ritual. So you want a husband, you attend church every Sunday because you're trying to be a good person so you can get what God has for you. That is not God's will for you to attend church every Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, Friday, and Saturday so that you can get something from God. That is not his way. That is the way of man. Man puts you in that position where man wants you to operate in a way that they can see that you're spiritual. This is why a lot of women get caught up in men at church. Because he goes to church doesn't mean he's spiritual. Because he can quote every scripture in the Bible doesn't mean he's spiritual. Because she praises and worships doesn't mean she's spiritual. It simply means she understands the primary lowest form of spirituality, which is enough to get you to move in a direction spiritual because you think they're spiritual. You think they're spiritual. And because you think they're spiritual, some of the things that are happening in your life today, right now, is because you're more ritualistic than you are spiritual. And it's the vice versa. I have people tell me all the time, I'm spiritual. They're cussing and doing all these different things externally, and they're moving into that direction. See, the key becomes, Matthew says, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So from what's abundant inside of you is what I'll hear when I talk to you. See, because a Christian person, which is the next level religion than this Christianity, a Christian person tries to show you how spiritual he is. A Christian person, which is the second level, tries to show you. Now, that's the level that's here. That's the mental level. Christianity is the mental level. It's the place where you do things because you want to show external how you're Christian and how you're being good to your sister. You're making sure you go through the mental level. Most of us are at the religious level, more than they know. More than they know. Because a person that you talk to say, well, what, do you go to church? No, I don't. To go, no, I don't go to church because I don't believe in religion. I believe I'm spiritual. That right there tells me that you're still immature. Why? Because the statement you're making is trying to justify to this person that you have some foundation of spirituality. It tries to show you that you have some foundation of spirituality. Because what a person that is in religion is the dogma. Oh God, girl, I prayed last night and the Lord told me. I was talking to a young lady yesterday. She is a cancer survivor. Now y'all gonna hear this from me. She's a cancer survivor. And she saw me and she said, brother, I want to talk to you. She said, I know the reason that I was even at this particular store was because of her. The reason I was there was because of her. I got up in the morning. When I got up in the morning, an unction, I'll teach y'all about unctions later, especially if you guys come to the retreat. An unction said, go to this particular store. I have no reason to go to the store. I have no reason to go to the store. So I go to the store. When I go to the store, I'm sitting there talking. As I'm talking, the same unction hits me again and says, tell this lady this. And I told her, and she came around the counter and she began to talk to me. She said, I am a cancer survivor. And I said, wow, that's great. She said, but they're telling me that I could possibly have cancer again. So I've gone, I prayed, I told all my sisters and brothers to pray and all that kind of stuff. And I said, I need you to hear me very closely. And I need everybody on this line and everybody that's going to hear me. If you're coming a little later, welcome. Again, my name is William Dallas. This is the Higher Standards Chronicles. Our job is to get the spirit of your mind together, restore the spirit of your mind. But I need you to hear me. The rituals you do to make God move and hope God answers a specific prayer are not the rituals that make him move. Hear me very closely. You are healed. You are delivered. You are changed. Whatever the situation that happened spiritually, he did not do it because he loves you. Y'all gonna be all right with that? He did not do it because he loves you. And a lot of people are gonna get upset about this. You'll be okay. God did not heal you because he loves you. He didn't bless you financially because he loves you. He didn't give you the husband because he loves you. So you start going, oh, God must love me because he did this. That is not why God did what he did. That thought process is the second level of spirituality. You've not made it to spirituality. You feel like that what God does has a physical reason because of what you've done. That is not your reasoning. God did not, has not, will not do anything because he loves you. Now, if you guys really want to go to the next level of spirituality, I'm trying not to read. I can't read the notes. Guys, come on. If you want me to write notes, bring them on YouTube so I can hear them. And I'm gonna stop saying that too. He does not do things because he loves you. Let me give you an example. See, here's what we have. Here's what we have to understand. We have to stop defining our existence by the worst thing that possibly happened, and then go, because that worst thing doesn't happen to us, makes it seem that we're better than somebody or our situation is better. God did not do any of these things that he does for you because he loves you. The reason most of us do those things is because we're trying to acquire his love. We're trying to acquire his love. We want God to love us. We want to feel like we're good people. And so what happens is we descend right down to the lowest level of spirituality. Because religion tells you you're bad, you're good, and God loves you, he doesn't love you. That's what religion tells you. Christianity tells you that you're his child. So you got to walk around and look like Jesus, because Christianity means Christ-like. That's the second level. So most of us are living a life. Anytime you live a life of rituals, you live a life of religion. It may not be the big five, but you're living a life of religion. And living a life of religion keeps you at a place where you're teetering between moving in the spirit and not moving in the spirit. Every person on this planet needs to learn how to meditate and how to pray. I don't care who you are. I don't care what walk of life you're in. I don't care if you are a duck thinking you're a chicken. You need to learn meditation and prayer, because your natural state is spiritual. Your natural state is not physical. So when you begin to descend to operating in the physical, your natural state then is frustrated because you are now fighting against who you are naturally and who you are spiritually. God does not bless you and take care of you because he loves you. That goes without saying. Example. Right now, most of you can tell, because even now my screen is dark, I'll fix this later. Right now, most of you can tell that I am an African American or a black man, a melanated, whatever you want to talk, because we're up on these titles. Everybody wants to do their title. Oh, don't say good morning, say grand rising. I don't love you to death, I love you to life. All these things. And most of them, we don't really study the whole thing. For the love you to life thing, let me help you out. The actual statement is, because we slur our words, the actual statement is, I love you until death. That's the actual statement. Not I love you to death. I love you until death. But we've skipped the and to, just put to. So the statement is, when I say I love you unto death, it means I love you until death. Even death, I'm there, I love you. Anyway, so we follow these rituals. The reason now, you know that I'm an African man. You know that I if I go into a restaurant right now and I eat fried chicken, because I'm an African American, they take for granted that's why I eat fried chicken. Because I am black. They take for granted, because this is what the system has told us, that I am a black man and black people like fried chicken and watermelon. Now, every black person in the world doesn't like fried chicken and watermelon, but they take for granted, because I am this, I have to be this. Most of you, so I go in and I get a piece of fried chicken. And once I get a piece of fried chicken, I want y'all to pay attention to this. Once I get a piece of fried chicken, now all of a sudden, all the categories that say who I am are now justified because I do this one particular thing. Y'all follow me? But if I go to get the fried chicken because I'm buying fried chicken for somebody else, it messes up the psyche. Everybody going, wait a minute, but you right. You've been taught that if you fall into the level of God's love, that he will bless you. Now, I need you to pay very close attention to what I'm about to say right now. Here's the deal. What you have to realize is when the Bible says, greater is he that is in me than he that's in the world, they're not talking about a God that sits somewhere in the heavens. He's saying that the moment that you allow yourself to be spiritual, you merge with the truth of who you are, and that's a spiritual person. So that means that the moment that I let myself become spiritual, I merge with the spiritual being, which is God, which is me. I merge with the spiritual being, which is God, which is me. Now, if I do that, that means that there's a direct plug between the mother and the baby. So the baby doesn't have to actually eat anything because the baby and the mother are one. So the baby is not growing in the mother's belly because the baby is loved by the mother. It is its natural state to grow. So it's organically moving toward the destination that the egg and the seed created for them. Now I told you, follow me now. So that means that where you are right now is organically exactly where God wants you to be. Why? Because he has a plan for you from here to there. So the reason you're not wealthy is not because you're doing all the wrong things. You've not gotten orders from your spirit, because when you open up your spirit, you unify with the Spirit of God. So that means that the power That means that the power that comes from God, hear me guys, the power that comes from God, that power now is yours. Whether you think he loves you or not. The reason that there are people that are wealthy, the reason that there are people that are outside that don't do all the religious dogmas that you've seen, is because they are tapped into who they are spiritually. That's just who they are. And so when they operate in who they are, the blessings are lined up with who you are. The key becomes when you don't meditate and pray or give yourself time to be yourself, you operate in influences of things that try to make you other than who you are. There's not a person on this line. There's not a person that's hearing, that may hear me or hear me later. There's not a person on this line that cannot do everything they want to do. They simply need to line up with who they are authentically. God doesn't bless you because he loves you. You're blessed because you are listening to him. You're blessed because you're listening to him. These are dental floss things for flossing your teeth. There's a bag of them. There's about I don't know what there's a number of them. There's a bag of them. I think there's 60. There's 60 of them. You see a little number there. You probably can't see it. There's 60 of them. If I take these 60 and I put them in the living room and 60 people show up, that means 60 people have opportunity to benefit from this. It doesn't mean I love them. It doesn't mean I don't love them. What it simply means is that they're in the position to access what they need to do what they have to do. So your job is to get in position. God loves you, period. His love is universal. It doesn't go up and down like humans do. So when you're in religion, which is the lowest form, when you're in religion, your love goes up and your love goes down. But in God, it's consistent. So he doesn't monitor it by what you do right or wrong. He doesn't monitor it by what you do good or bad. It's already there. So if you are operating in rituals trying to get things to happen in your life, what's happening to you is you're reducing your ability to be spiritual, because rituals don't line up with the spirit. What rituals do is say that I am religious and these are the religious rituals I use to get to God. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And so what happens to you is you have to get beyond the rituals. How do we get beyond the rituals? I thought I was going to be done by 11, but I'm not. How do we get beyond the rituals? Here's how we get beyond the rituals: prayer and meditation. This is how we get beyond the rituals: prayer and meditation. I teach you this. I say this all the time. The way we get past the rituals is prayer and meditation. So when you learn prayer and meditation, what is prayer? Prayer and meditation. Meditation is speaking to yourself. Prayer is speaking to your destiny or speaking to the spiritual part. So what you're bringing together is a consistency of your spirit and your one and you're bringing together as one, so that now my rhythm of movement is always spiritual. It may not look spiritual because I'm beyond physical. It may not feel spiritual because I'm beyond physical. It's the rhythm of movement. See, a lot of you are in situations right now, and because you're in those situations, you think that God is not doing something for you. So what you're going to do is go to church a whole bunch of times and go listen to the pastor and start doing all these rituals. Now, I understand that. But what I had to learn, and I want you to learn, is the rituals of organized religion are not designed for you to grow. They're designed for you to move, but not to grow. There's always a lateral movement, because a growth, not a lateral, a growth movement or moving in the next level puts you in a position where your dependency is not on religion or church. It's your dependency on your connection to the Spirit of God, which means sometimes you're not told to go to church. I have a friend of mine, and this is my fault. She was getting ready to go to church, and I wanted to tell her not to go to church. I was so afraid that if I told her not to go to church, she would feel like I was trying to control some things in her life. And I'm like that. I don't want anybody to, so I don't tell her not to go. She ends up having an accident. My key to you is the things that are being offered to you, and I'm saying this to a lot of you. I'm saying this to a lot of you. The things that I offer to you are not going to be taught in religion. Or they're going to be touched on, but they're not going to be taught in religion. And the reason they're not going to be taught in religion, people, because you should be holding a different level of who you are. Right now, moments that happen, you don't know how a great moment happens till after the great moment is over. You have no idea what I'm teaching you if you're not hearing me spiritually. If you're trying to rationalize my knowledge and rationalize the knowledge with who you think you are, or rationalize the knowledge with the money that you have or the people that you have around you, if you're trying to rationalize what I'm saying to you by logic, it's not going to work. Why? Because it doesn't make sense for you to stop going to church when you feel like everything that happened through church brought you to this point when it didn't. It doesn't make sense when I say prayer and meditation when bad things are happening in your life and I'm saying to you, this is where you're supposed to be. Why? Because you're supposed to master this moment. You're supposed to master this moment. The challenge that happens is you keep being a victim because religion and the world and the systems that we live in are created to make us weak. And so what we do is we operate in this level of weakness. And so what happens is you consider every situation, you consider yourself a victim of every situation. Welcome to Religion 101. Welcome to Religion 101. You think that you're a victim of every situation that's happening when that is not the case. The reason things battle you is because they're afraid of you. The reason that things battle you is because they are afraid of you. See, you are afraid of stuff that's afraid of you. Check this out. Peep game. If they are going to try, and this is a conspiracy, so follow the conspiracy. This is a conspiracy. The conspiracy is there are too many people on this planet, so they have to kill off a number of people on the planet. That is a level of fear. That is not a level of masterful. That's a level of fear, because if you take off a certain amount of people off the planet, that means that the people that are now in wealthy positions, they now have to work harder to get something accomplished. So why would they do it? Well, they're moving everything to computers. Yes, they will move everything to computers. Why? Because the wealthy will continue to make money. But they're not doing it because they're just, oh, nice people or bad people. They're afraid. The reason you're being segregated and separated from religion and people and why this stuff is happening, because if you ever got together, never got on one accord, if you guys ever said, you know what, we're going to move all in one direction, you can change the world. But you don't want to change the world because they've got you believing that you are the victim of these situations that happen in your life. When you become spiritual and allow your spiritual nature to take hold, you no longer become a victim. You no longer become a victim. You no longer think that these things are getting you or you're being gotten by this stuff. You begin to realize that I'm not a victim and I can't be victimized by this stuff. Well, I'm going to lose my house. Okay. Are you? No, I'm not. I'm not going to lose my house. I'm not going to lose my house. I don't care what they say in the courts. I don't care what they say. I'm not going to lose my house. So now my spiritual connection goes, God, lead me on the process that best benefits my destination. Anything you feel you lose on this level, you need to know why. Anywhere you are, you need to know why. Anything that happens, you want to know why. Why? Because you are not a victim. So you didn't just haphazardly get into the situation. You got a bad relationship. Oh my God, he was abusive. There were clues, there were moments, there were situations that you saw that knew that you shouldn't be in this situation. You were there because he was fine. You were there because she was cute. You were not there because you were spiritually cognitive or conscious. Spiritually conscious. So once you do that, you went through that situation because you desired to be in a place that you were not willing to wait for the place to take place. So you weren't spiritually connected. And now it happens. And in some cases it happens so bad you start going to the other side. So a man hurt you so bad that you start dealing with women. But the basis of the situation is not the fact that that man was bad. It's the fact that he's not the only man in the world. And it's to bring you back to a place of saying, okay, I got to be spiritual now. I can't be carnal, because right now there's some of you that won't get married. Some of the ladies won't get married to a man if he's shorter than you. There's some of you men that won't get married to a woman that doesn't exactly look as fine as what you see online. You're still in religion, bro. You're still in the lowest form of spirituality, but you think you're spiritual. How much time do you give to your spirit every day? Every day. How much time do you give to your spirit? How much time do you spend in your spirit? How much time do you spend eating? If you're big, overweight, you spend a lot of time eating, which means you are at an abundance. You live in abundance. That's what that's called, abundance. You're not fat, you're just abundant. But how much time do you spend spiritually? How much time do you spend meditation and praying and connecting to the spiritual person that you are? How much time do you spend that? You're probably anorexic in that area. And so now you're trying to make decisions according to the second level, which is Christianity, and that's the mentality. You're trying to make decisions according to your mind by rationalizing what happened to your past and what happens in your present and what you believe is going to happen in the future. So you're operating in a level of Christianity. That's all Christianity is. It's a comparison of where we are and where we're going. Christ was on a journey to the cross. So it was where he is at this point in the journey and where he's going to end up. Why? Because the cross represents transitioning from the carnal and the Christian into the godly. Where we are and where we're going. And so when you understand where we are and where we're going, we begin to understand how do we get to the next level. We get to the next level when we understand that the rituals that we follow that have made us religion, even if you don't go to church, some of the things that you have in religion says you got to go to church and the pastor has to marry you. Religion says the woman has to have this big, beautiful wedding and spend thousands of dollars. That's a religion. It's a ritual. I have no problem with weddings. I have no problem with pastors marrying you. It's a ritual. And what you happen is it's a ritual because instead of figuring out what we really should do, because we want to put ourselves in position where we're operating spiritually, we go to the things that are the rituals. The ritual is I'm getting married, you're going to give me a big old diamond ring, and we're going to do that. Why? Because you've been set according to the religion of this world. There's a religion of church and there's a religion of this world. The religion of this world says that you need to give her a diamond. It needs to be 2 months' salary. The religion of this world says she's not going to marry you if you can't give her a diamond. You can't. It's not about your heart. It's not about your spirit. It's about what she sees and what she feels, and she can tell her friends about it. The religion of this world says I get a fancy car and I get the next best car so I can show all my buddies that I'm worthy. Because I'm not worthy, because I got to show my worthiness through the stuff that I buy and the money that I spend. That's religion. You're stuck in religion. You're trying to prove. You're stuck between Christianity and religion, trying to prove to everybody that you're worthy. When in actuality, you've been worthy whether you have one car or 1,000 cars. Get your Christianity out of here. Get beyond your religion. Begin to learn meditation. When I talk about going to this retreat, and by the way, guys, the retreat's been moved from the 21st, from the 8th to the 21st to the 25th. And we're not going to Jamaica, we're going to St. Lucia. That flyer should be out Monday. It's still it's a petite hotel, resort. We will probably be the only ones on the resort. And we're going to talk about some of these things. We're going to deal with some of these things and handle some of these things. Why? Because I've got to purge you of all the stuff that has been inside of you for years. If you're over the age of 20, it's been put inside of you for years. It's on television, it's at church, it's in Bibles, it's the internet, YouTube, all these things, and you're now living beneath it. And you go, why can't I get the money to do this? Why can't I do this? Why? Because you have to master this moment. That's the second part of this. Master this moment. Have you mastered this moment? If it's emotionally drawing you, you're not mastering it. If there's more emotion being drawn in this thing than it is physical, you're not mastering it. Huh? Bro, you're not mastering it. You get on my nerves, you're not mastering it. Mastering the moment means that you are not swayed by anything other than the spirit. What time is it? I got 3 minutes. Anything other than the spirit. Why aren't you doing the things you want to do? Why aren't you doing it? You know why? Because you haven't mastered the moment, and you live the moment, and I talked to my wife about this, you live the moment according to your capabilities and according to your abilities. That's why you're not moving. I'm going to use my retreat all the time because I know it's a benefit to you. Why aren't you at the retreat? Because you looked at your check, you looked at your bills, you looked at your friends, you looked at your capabilities, you looked at the things around you and said, I can't do that. But not one time did you simply say, yes, I can do it. And then go to your meditation and say, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I want to access the next level of the spirit. And when you pray, go, lead me in the path that gets me to this destination. Stop trying to justify your life with whether he loves you or not. He loves you. That's already foregone conclusion. What you have to justify your life by is being in a way that masters every moment that you're in. You master that moment. Master it. Don't just be a part of it. Don't just be like everybody else. Master that moment. The reason you want to be a millionaire is because you master each moment. And so when you look back, you don't have to worry about looking back because the moment that you pass has already been mastered. So you don't need to take that class again. It's called spiritual double jeopardy. It's what I call it. Remember that movie Double Jeopardy? That means you've been judged for a murder and they found you not guilty. You can't be judged for that murder again. If he comes up and he's not dead and you're going to blow his brains out, by law, they can't say anything to you. You can stand in the middle, shoot him with a doggone shotgun, cut him into little pieces and put him in a bag. They can't say anything. So you are in double jeopardy. Once you master that moment no longer has to be lived. You passed that class already. My job is to get you to pass every class until you begin to see like God sees, which is already inside of you, and then use your mind to interpret what the Spirit is saying and not what your situation suggests. Now, that's it. That's the whole game. Now, how we do that, when we do that, why we do that, horse of a different color. But you have to get out of this thing. I got 1 minute. All right? Have the other thing. Today is Friday. You guys have a wonderful weekend. My name is William Dallas, Higher Standards Chronicles. And get out of primary. Stop being the low end of the thing. Get your pattern of meditation. Get it together. It's not, see, this is not a hard thing. It's just simply going to take you fighting the physical that now has the Lord and Master over you and getting into a godly, guided movement. Getting into a godly, guided movement. Let your spirit guide you. Now, there's a lot more to that because I said like this, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. No. There's a part where you have to do some things, and I'll teach you about those things as we go on. All right. Again, you want to be a part of the retreat. We still have some more seats left because we shifted and got something nicer. Seats left. Make sure you DM me, and I'll get you that information on Monday. All the stuff will be on my Instagram. All right. I love you guys. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out with me. No, it is not. DM me if you want to be a part of the retreat. It's not too late to be a part of it. But you can't pay deposits now. You have to actually pay for the whole retreat. And we made it kind of reasonable. All right, guys, I love you so much. This is William Dallas. This is the Higher Standards Chronicles. And my job, what is my job? Is to get you together with the spirit of your mind. All right? All right. Love you. Peace.